4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello there, folks, and welcome to the Production Room Podcast. We're coming to you from the third floor at the Dixie Center for the Arts. That's in the Historic Dixie Theater in beautiful downtown Ruston. We try to get together with local performing artists. I'm trying to do a weekly show, so we're having singers and songwriters, actors and actresses, all manner of performing arts going on up here at the Production Room Podcast. Quick shout out to Origin Bank, our corporate sponsor for the podcast. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you all for watching. Be sure you like and share it. We're on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm real excited with my guest here today. I've got the incomparable Trey Gauthreaux right here with us. Hello, Trey.
Hello.
Welcome to the Production Room Podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Great opportunity.
Well, we're glad to have you. I know you've got a little experience in podcasting yourself, right?
A little bit. I do. I have a podcast, Modern Day Messengers. We're still figuring it out.
Right. Well, I pretend I know what I'm doing with this one.
Same.
Yeah. And it always seems to manage to work out, right?
Oh, yeah.
So for those of you here in Ruston who don't know Trey is quite the musician and singer. I got to tell you, you've got a lot of fans in the area, and I'm among them. So tell us a little bit about Trey. What do we need to know?
Oh, man. Well, as far as my musician career goes, I'm going to be blushing. Thank you for all those compliments. But it started out when I was super young. Well, I think I probably should give you a little background story about like my upcoming.
Sure. Tell us. You've got a very interesting past. And
all the way back to when I was a baby.
It does. And I like to use the word overcomer.
That's right.
If there's anybody in this world that's an overcomer, I think it's Trey. So tell us your story.
Yeah. So let's see. Where do I start? All the way back to infancy. Basically, I was born in South Louisiana, Houma. Lived in Thibodeau, but when I was born, I was addicted to like crack cocaine and all kinds of good stuff.
And that's because your mother was an addict. You weren't an infant addict yourself. Right. You didn't use crack cocaine as a baby.
No, I wasn't. I didn't party that hard.
Right.
But no. So, and it's not my adopted mom now. So those who are watching, it's not the woman that you see with me today.
Yes.
It's the one in my previous existing babyhood, you could say. And so she had done drugs and alcohol when I was a baby. And so I was more addicted to this stuff. I did have to go to I had a detox, and then I had to go to rehab, like baby rehab or, with her. And so I had to, but when I was 3 months old, I was left alone. And the neighbors, I guess, heard me when I was crying, and I was found with curdled bottles and covered in all kinds of great things, and but I did almost die as a baby, and but God had a plan, and right. I was very thankful for that. Next thing you know, I got adopted by two wonderful parents. Lived in Thibodeau for about 9 years, and in 2006 I moved up to Ruston, Louisiana.
Awesome. What brought y'all up to Ruston, Louisiana?
Oh, Hurricane Katrina.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we get a lot of folks from South Louisiana coming north, and the hurricanes are usually the reason.
Yeah, so that's like a quick tidbit. Now, I will say, I'll tell the viewers that if they do want to go and a detail biography, I do have them on the website.
So what is that website?
It's TreyGauthreauxmusic.com, and they can look that up. And in the biography section, I do have a detailed story about what actually happened kind of as a baby. So they can go check it out.
So let's talk about your music a little bit now. So tell me who were your influences growing up? You've told me this before, but
Right.
I love the answers.
Yeah, I know. So it's kind of nuts. Now, people know me as like in today, they know me as the worship leader at church or a country artist, out and about. But when I was about 9 years old, I saw, I was on YouTube and I saw Guns N' Roses playing on YouTube videos, and I saw Slash, and I was like, man, I really want to do that. So the very first song I ever learned how to play was "Sweet Child of Mine," and then it was "Wanted Dead or Alive" by Bon Jovi.
So I got a quick, interesting story about "Sweet Child of Mine."
Yeah,
I was at a health food convention with my wife, who used to manage a health food store, and they had a karaoke night, and they was giving away casino bucks to.
Okay.
And I got up and I performed "Sweet Child of Mine" and won $3,000 in casino bucks.
What all they get you? What did they get you?
It didn't get me much.
Yeah, but hey, that's cool though.
So yeah,
that's a funny story. But that's how I got my start. I was in several bands growing up as teenage years. Go by, till I was about probably 14 years old. I was really into like 80s rock and roll, and if you listen to my music, some of that influence does kind of come out every now and then. Mm-hmm. But my mom and my parents were huge 90s country fans, and so eventually I started kind of gravitating towards country music, and I noticed that these songs were like storytelling songs,
mm-hmm.
and it really kind of resonated with either what I was going through or just it was really cool to hear those stories and put music to it. And I said, you know what? Then I made my transition to mostly country music, and I play some classic rock stuff too. And obviously I lead worship at church and stuff. So, but as far as my secular music side goes, it's predominantly country.
Right. You got to love music that tells a story.
I know.
So, you've written a few songs too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about that.
Man, every story, every song comes with a story, and it's. I know I'll be playing one here in a little bit for y'all, but not to go into too much detail about that just yet. But
right, we'll get to that later, folks.
Yeah, but each one of my songs, it comes with a lot of what I went through, either growing up, relationship issues,
Right. I shared with you the other day the song I wrote about growing up.
I loved it. Yeah.
I won't do that on here, but
yeah.
Feel free to share it sometime, though. You can sing it your next show.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Married man.
Yeah, that's it. And then, it's crazy. So I've been divorced. I think I was 19, 23. Man, the things that I have went through and learned. This isn't on the biography. This is like post all of that, because what happened is I fell into drugs and alcohol as an adult,
mm-hmm.
and I was living my life like really crazy. And so that really, it led up to me splitting up with my first wife, and then eventually I met my second wife. But things have kind of changed a little bit. I have to give the credit to her kind of sparking this seed, and she said, because one day, I was just on a, party binge, and she said, she's like, what are you doing this for? Really? And I stopped and I thought, I was like, I don't know. I never really stopped long enough to really think about why am I doing this. And eventually over the next, I would say probably 8 months on and off, thinking that question would not leave me. And I never understood why, but it was the answer was simple. I was searching for something that all these empty promises that I was trying to fulfill my life or fill my life with, and it was nothing but garbage, and I couldn't find no fulfillment in it. And then when I laid it all down and came back to the question, why am I doing this, I finally realized that I was searching for the one who created everything,
Right.
The one who could actually give me peace and an answer and a purpose. And so that's when I really turned my life around. And but before that, actually, I had a kid with Georgia,
right.
And eventually we got married.
And his name's Memphis. And he's how old?
He is 2 and a few months.
2 and a few months, and a bundle of energy.
Yes, yeah, he
and
is.
Something's fixing to happen in the Gauthreaux house, right?
Another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to call him Nashville?
Yeah, or Atlanta.
Okay.
My wife is Georgia.
Yeah.
I don't know. We find out the gender in a couple of weeks.
Awesome.
So, week or two. So
excited
about that.
Very excited about that.
I know. So I'm married. Got one on the way, one already here, and I'm a family man now. It's completely turned my life around, and it's amazing when God can take. Nothing's impossible for him, because it's like I was living like this way, and then he gave me a second chance, not on life, but an abundance of it. I've got a family, and it's just I can't be thankful enough for that. I mean, it's truly a gift.
So I know you lead worship at the church. Trey and I go to church together, by the way, folks. So shout out to Christ Church in Ruston. Hey,
what's up?
So I get to hear Trey sing quite often, but you do other play. You play around at local restaurants and some of the other places, and So tell us a little bit about that. I know you got something coming up this week.
Yeah, I'm playing at Red's this Friday.
Red's Tales and Shells in Farmerville.
I'll be playing there Friday. I might be somewhere Saturday, but I could find out today, tomorrow, the day of. But right now, that's all I got this weekend.
Right.
But I go out there and I play. I play stuff off my record, and I kind of use it as a tool to share my testimony, because all the songs on these records are, they're part of my story about what I went through in my early 20s. I can't believe I'm 27 now. I mean, time is just going by so fast.
Yeah,
but
so they grow up so fast, folks.
I know. So in my early 20s, we recorded this record during like COVID and stuff. And,
that was quite an experience for you too. Trying to record during COVID.
Yeah, that was crazy. But we eventually got it done. But I play a lot of these songs, and but then I also incorporate gospel music in that as well. And I try to let people know. I started to tell my story, because I'll tell you a story, and then I guess I was playing in Magnolia, Arkansas, and for some reason it was like really on me to share my adoption story. So I shared it, and then I actually had 2 women come up to me, and she's like, "Thank you so much for sharing that, because we were adopted, and we felt abandoned and all this." But he's like, "But you shared a hope," and so I started to share it, and so not only do I play all these other songs, but I try to share something with people that they can relate to at these shows.
That's a cool story.
So, yeah, it's because it's not just a performance. It's just I am. But, man, there's so much more to it than that. To share a connection with somebody, to relate to somebody, to let people know that there's hope out there,
That's good. So, Trey, when you're not out performing music at the restaurants or leading worship at church, what do you find yourself doing?
Well, I've done several things in the process of my music career. But I used to work at Tool City Sales in Ruston. Then I went to UPS. That was eventful. Then eventually I ended up working at a gun shop when Trucks and Triggers were here in Ruston. Then I went to I started metal fabrication work, mildly, of course, just making parts and stuff. But eventually, I ended up with another guy from church, Alex Harris, Home Improvement. And now we renovate stuff. And so that's what I do during the daytime. But I've learned a lot of stuff over the years. But I just started this job probably just a few weeks ago.
Right.
It's been really great. We put on the K-Love and work.
Very nice. I've had Alex do some work at my house, and can highly recommend them if you need home improvement work done.
Yeah, he's really good.
Not a sponsor, so that's a free shout out right there. Tell us about your art. I know you've done some art in the past.
Oh yeah, I do love to paint. When I do have some free time, which lately it's not a lot of free time, but when I do, it's almost like a Bob Ross experience.
We almost have the hair for it.
Yeah, I know. I need it. And my hair's still a little wet from the shower. I got off early and came. He took a shower and came straight here or something. But yeah, I love to paint scenery stuff, mountains. It really looks like Bob Ross paintings.
Yeah, cool. So since we're here at the Dixie Center, we've had you perform. You opened for somebody.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear about your experience in opening for J.D. Simo.
Yeah, right. Super cool guy, but man, I've never performed here, and I've always come to a lot of shows here, but never actually played on the stage. So to get up there and experience that stage is massive. It's a lot of stage to fill, and so it was a little nerve-wracking at first, and I never got to go backstage and see all the production side of it. It was really cool. I knew the sound guys that were running that night. Mm-hmm. I used to go to church with those guys, and they're really good. And it was amazing. This room in here is like acoustically awesome.
So that's one thing I hear over and over from our performers is how fantastic the acoustics are in the Dixie. And here's a little known fact. You can stand on the stage at the Dixie and speak in a normal voice, and our people in the production area up top on the third floor, kind of where we're at, can hear you fine. You don't have to yell. We could probably do a lot of acoustic performances here without the benefit of a sound system and be okay. But we do like our technology, so we do plug into the sound system.
Yeah, but it sounded phenomenal, and I had such a blast. Mm-hmm. So, and I got Dave P. actually played.
Pimo was here.
Pimo was here on the harp, and man, he just killed it.
So I'm hoping to get Pimo on the show here pretty soon. So.
Oh man, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, it would be cool, and some other folks. We got so many talented and musicians here in this part of the state, and I could probably do a daily show for a year and not touch on all of them.
I know there's a bunch of talented people out there for sure. So I appreciate you choosing me to be on one of these.
Well, we're like I said, we're still in the learning process. So this is our fourth show. And, when you're trying things out for the first time, there's nothing wrong with going to your friends and, hitting them up. So
that's exactly right.
My first four shows have been acquaintances. And so, I'm glad you're here. We talked a little bit about your songwriting and one song in particular. And I requested the song for today for your performance.
That's right.
So introduce the song and tell us just a little bit about it.
Yeah. So this song is called Like That Train. And me and a buddy of mine were going through a rough time in the relationship process, I guess. And we were sitting out on a back porch, and like I said, we were in a doghouse, but we were sitting out there, and the train rolls by, and you just hear it, and man, he just pauses, and then he takes a second and thinks, and it's just quiet. You know, you can tell when somebody's thinking, and he goes, "Man, like I wish I could be like that train." And I kind of look at him, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, we got to write that down. We got to write that down now, because we compared the song to obviously being like a train, and now we had to revise it a few times, but we pretty much wrote it in about just a few hours. But we had to revise some things because I'm not a train engineer, and I don't know train terminology except for a few things like tracks, deadheads, smoke, black stack, and so we're there Googling like, okay, what are these called? And so eventually we put together a really, really cool song, and Monty was a part of that project. And
Monty Russell, folks.
Yeah, Monty Russell, the Monty Russell, and he was part of that. And my buddy Quincy Adams was a part of that. He was my boss at the metal fab shop.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really crazy. He was my boss during the day and songwriter at night. So, but all of those guys got to be a part of that, and eventually we came up with a really cool song. Just when you think you can't write another song about a train, it just pops up. So
you're what you're saying is Hank Williams Sr. did not have a monopoly on train songs, right?
Well.
So
yeah.
If folks wanted to get a hold of you, if they wanted you to come play at their event or at their business, what's the best way to do that?
So one of a few things. On my website, Monty Russell does have a email address that they can send to, or they can contact me directly on my email. I know you could probably put that up, but
yeah, we'll have all that information on the screen.
So my email, his email, and that's probably the best way to contact us.
Okay. Well, like I said, that information will be on the screen towards the end of this podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks again to Origin Bank for doing this. Thank you, Trey, for being with us today. We're getting ready to set up for a live performance here in the Production Room podcast. We'll be back in just a second, folks.
Red River rattling rumbles on the rails, 100 cars per chain to its tail. Concealed beneath a long black veil, the ghost of love that's gone to hell. As the smoker shovels on the coal, wheels of steel, the rattler starts to roll. As a lonesome whistle moans a familiar heartbreak song, as it screams off like an angry cannonball. Like a knob down here, we're keeping time to the rhythm of the trail rail line. But a dead end is full steam ahead. It's the difference in a freight train and a man. I wish I had a heart like that train, never knowing any hurt nor any pain, pulling that load on down the line, leaving all of this past behind, departed from those remnants that remain. With a hard heart still like that train. Pressure's in a red, like your memory in my head. Danger, danger, dead man's curvy head. Cinder streaming, ears laid back. Cold till thought of sparks fly off the tracks. Or his future somewhere in the night. All he knows is chasing his life. I wish I had a heart like that train. Never knowing any hurt nor any pain. Pulling that load on down the line. Leaving all of its past behind. Departed from those remnants that remain. With a heart of steel like that train. Well, she blows at the crossing one last time. But it couldn't take your memory. Still burning in my mind.
And there you have it, folks. Trey Gauthreaux performing live here at the Production Room Podcast on the third floor at the Dixie Center for the Arts. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so glad to have you. Be sure you're sharing these episodes. Tell your friends about us. If you have a suggestion for somebody to get on this show, shoot me an email. Our email address will be on the screen at the end. I do want to tell you about some things coming up here at the Dixie Center. So this Friday night is Take 3. Got 3 classically trained lady performers, violin, cello, and piano. But they live at the intersection where rock meets Bach. So be expected to hear a little AC/DC, maybe some Bieber, all kinds of different genres of music that you don't typically hear from classical instruments. It's going to be a fantastic show. That's this Friday night at 7 o'clock. And then next week, next Saturday, on the 8th, is Matt Anderson, who is a multiple award-winning blues performer from Canada. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, he was the big winner at the Maple Leaf Festival in Canada, which is their equivalent to the International Memphis Blues Challenge. So he won Entertainer of the Year, Singer of the Year, Songwriter of the Year, Producer of the Year. So as you can imagine, the man's got a lot of talent and such a powerful voice. And he's going to be here at the Dixie Center. With him is somebody who is called Old Man Ludica, also a Canadian. Real folksy sound. He plays banjo and guitar. I'm looking forward to both of them. I hope you are too. You can always get tickets for any Dixie event at www.dixiecenter.org. And we're still a month away, but I do want to remind you that the Joe Woods Wildwood Express is coming up, and that's a perennial favorite here in Ruston. Back in the day, the old days here at the Dixie Center, the Joe Woods Wildwood Express was a weekly show that took place on the Dixie stage, a variety show of country music and comedy. Mr. Joe has since passed on, but his legacy lives on here at the Dixie Center through the Wildwood Express show. His nephew Travis will kind of lead the band. We've got, oh goodness, I bet there's 12 or 15 different performers are going to be taken to the stage. It's going to be an evening of great fun, and all proceeds do come back to the Dixie Center for the Arts. So I want to thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you, Origin Bank, for your support. Look for us on Spotify. Look for us on YouTube and on Facebook. And until the next time, I'm Tom Faber, your host. We'll see you then. Thank you for tuning in to the Production Room Podcast, coming to you from the Dixie Center in beautiful downtown Ruston, Louisiana. For questions, comments, or just to say hey, you may email us at productionroompodcast@gmail.com. The views expressed by our guests and host may not necessarily be those of the Dixie Center for the Arts or our sponsor. The Dixie Center for the Arts is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation whose goal is to be the heart and the home for the arts in North Louisiana. Be sure to share this episode with your friends and tune in again next time to the Production Room Podcast.